We online?
Om Sadashivat Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. It's verse number 8, Mark, page 1547. Okay, we are just
Correct. Thank you.
reviewing the verse 8 and the concept around the practice to condition the mind to stay focused, naturally, effortlessly focused in the remembrance of our higher nature as the nature of the Lord, so that we can live this body, this world, never forgetting our true nature, the nature of reality, which is the nature of God. So we are children of God, and we should live with that that remembering alive in our minds, so that we can get in and out of samsara and be free from having to come back, unless one wish to come back for another round, as we have seen. The verse number 8, Krishna says, Arjuna constantly thinking of the Lord with a mind that is undistracted due to meditation, practice, sadhana, upasana. One attains this divine supreme Lord, meaning to say, the mind is so educated to remember its true nature as God, as consciousness, that it no longer waves between its inferior apparent nature as the body mind and its superior nature as God. So one lives and dies with that conviction, certainty of knowledge firm in one's mind. What is that? It's the divine nature of each one of us, which is identical to the nature of God. And one is said to attain the divine supreme by the means of understanding that which has always been the supreme nature of each one of us. So that's the bottom line here, right? That's it. Swami, just going back here, Swami is going to unfold this verse, saying some technical meanings of words here. The Lord, which is the highest reality, the Lord who is known as Purusha. The word has two meanings, and then he goes into some meanings of Sanskrit words. Purusha means dwells, resides. The indweller, we know this concept about the indweller. So it is one intrinsic true nature. It is every one of these words has some limitations in pointing to that which is all pervasive. Uh, so the body means dwells, everyone. Pure means puri means pure, means the body, and so on. And the second meaning of these words, purusha, is the one that is all over the place. Purna comes from Purna, so that all pervading dweller, who is Paraman, it's the absolute reality. You see, I mean, there are contradictions here. It says Purna, so that all pervading indweller. So how can something which is all pervading, be in or out of anything? So it's just pointing to the difficulty of using dualistic words to explain the only reality without a second thing, but only limitless, all pervading conscious existence. And Divyam means the one who is Chaitanya, Svarupan, the nature of God is consciousness. So the Lord. So, and then let's say, Swami is going to say here, Divyam means the one who is the Chaitanya, Svarupan. So that Lord, Asaguna Upasaka, remembers at the time of death. So now he's saying, so you have to remember the true nature of the conscious nature of God, you know, so that someone doing upasana on Saguna Ishwara, yeah, on Saguna Ishwara, remembers at the time of death how, with a mind, which kind of mind? A disciplined, strong mind due to the practice, regular exercise, discipline, because of regular rehearsal. No? So I don't like this word very much, but it's okay. Training, education. Abhyasa means what? Practice. Repetition. Repetition goes more in terms of programming. Programming does not have a good connotation because it does not imply that this reprogramming is only possible through a profound understanding of the true nature of reality, so that the mind can be convinced as of its true nature, as something beyond the human comprehension, meaning to say one without a second. So that requires a lot of education, a lot of studies of the scriptures. So only then the mind can be properly educated and totally convinced, not by mere repetition. Okay, it's a very complex, beautiful sadhana. By practice, man is made perfect. So that practice is called Abhyasa Yoga Yukatana, a mind which is endowed with the strength of sadhanas all through one's life. The support of this sadhana with such mind, and therefore only with a mind which is undistracted, meaning to say the mind is going to be firmly established in this understanding, free from waving, free from doubts or vagueness, only if it has gone through this process of sadhana. And it says that it is a Saguna Upasaka. Porque, why Saguna Upasaka? Because he needs to develop the qualifications, through a practice which involves Saguna Ishwara. So you are doing your sadhana, bringing the mind to that symbol of reality, meaning to say Ishwara, God, colored by the gunas of Maya, so that one develops the qualifications which allows this person or that person to enter the Nididhyasana, Vedantic Nididhyasana, which requires a one-pointed mind, undistracted mind. But now the object of contemplation is no longer Saguna Ishwara, but it is Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman, the very self of the meditator, of the contemplator, of the Nididhyasaka. Is that clear, Mark?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, the Saguna is just a symbol for the absolute.
Yeah. And one needs to go through that to develop the qualifications to just stay with the Nididhyasana. Yat it is very, very natural. Yat means very natural. I love this word, natural. It's not extraordinary. I have heard that mathematics prodigy Ramanujan, he had an early death and he was suffering from some disease. He was in the deathbed, and then we saw that. And then the target, the plate number of his card was somehow particular, and and he had that remember so clearly established in his mind. It was a relevant number to him. He was a mathematician, and the card number was unique, and it stayed so firmly retained, you know, that in the last moment, in spite of whatsoever disease he was suffering, that that plate number was alive in his mind. Just imagine to have such a relevant thought around the nature of reality as God, that that thought remains in spite of any possible illness or disease the mind may be suffering at the time of departure. So how was him able to hold that knowledge? Whatever is relevant, whatever you love the most it remains naturally, effortlessly held in the mind, and the mind will remember that. If you have the value for the highest truth, which the nature of God, the nature of the Atma, then you should naturally think of that, be reminded of that during your day-to-day transactions, because your mind was absolutely embedded or soaked in those contemplations, in those sadhanas, on those upasanas, that it became nature to see the nature of God in everything, and everyone becomes nature to the individual who went through this profound training based on pure understanding, knowledge. Therefore, he merges into God, and here merged into God means krama mukti prapnoti, krama mukti. So he merged after he leaves the body, he gets self-knowledge. The next file here, answering the seventh question, Swami gives us another recap. He's talking about the significance of remember God at the time of death. Is there anything significant about that? Yes and no. The significance is just to remember the nature of God as your very nature all through your life. And then, when the time that you are leaving the body, of course, that thought is going to dominate one's mind. What is the significance of remembering God at the time of death? Oh no, because then when you come back next life, your next life is going to be designed in accordance with this last thought of yours. But as we have already understood, the last thought is only possible if it has become the relevant, main thought of your life, your most profound, most relevant vasana, your most relevant tendency to think. But it's not to think about anything; it's to think in harmony with the nature of reality, with the nature of the self, the nature of God. And then you are not only developing a vasana, but a vasana that harmonizes your mind with reality. And if we are in harmony, we are comfortable whatsoever the circumstance. Therefore, a upasaka that's kept in mind the nature of God is an niskama upasaka, an upasaka who has only spiritual goal, who does not have materialistic desires no longer. And put in another word, who has got real vairagya. Yeah? Vairagya means to say, no, I accept anything, everything. So my goal in life is not to get what I want here, but it's just to be grateful to whatsoever is delivered to me. This Niskama Upasaka can take to two different courses of life. One is by practicing Niskama Upasana for some time, thereafter switching over the sadhana to the Vedanta Vichara, or Niguna Ishwara Yanan. So from Saguna to Nirguna, from Pasana to Nididhyasana or Yanan, here in the words of Swami. Yana is in the form of Shravanam Manana Nididhyasana. Yanan, meaning to say Yana Yoga, is comprising the process of Shravanam Manana Nididhyasana. And when we talk in terms of meditation of Upasana, the Upasana on Saguna Ishwara is technically termed as Upasana. The meditation upon the Nirguna nature of Brahman is technically termed Nididhyasana. By following that three-legged Yana Yoga, meaning to say Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, a person gets liberated here now, and it gets title as Jivanmukti. This Jivanmukti topic, Krishna is keeping aside for the 9th chapter. So Krishna was very clever to design and structure the Bhagavad Gita. he put in a way that keeps us hooked to now to learn, to want to learn what's coming next. He's talking about another course that the Niskama Upasaka can take too as well. And in this, he continues in Niskama Upasana throughout one's life. So without coming to Vedanta, Vichara, or Nirguneshwara because of whatsoever karmic reason. So he's talking about someone who is totally committed to God, committed to this process of spiritual accomplishment or elevation. And of course, it's only possible if the person is a Niskama Bhakta, a Niskama Upasaka. What it means, Niskama, no longer worldly goals the focus. Now the goal is spiritual elevation, and I will be meditating the nature of Saguna Ishwara because I want to understand the most auspicious nature, which is the nature of God, colored by the guna of Sattva Guna, of course, the supreme intelligence, and so on, and its laws and principles, the way it holds the universe in place, and so on. So this is a way of life. It goes one's entire life. And then one leaves the body in that situation. The body mind was highly developed, purified. uh, and he becomes from Niskama Bhakta, he becomes a Niskama Upasaka. And we don't come into Vedanta for some karmic reason. He never goes into the vichara, into the investigation of the true nature of reality in the light of the teachings of the Upanishad. It never comes there for some reason. Swami does not supply any reason, but we know it's just for some karmic reasons because everything is karma. We are not bothered about the reasons, say Swamis. Either the person feels, no, I'm satisfied with my niskama upasana practice, and I heard about nirguna, nirguna Atma, nirguna Brahman, but I don't, it does not resonates with me, let's say. I don't have enough appreciation to that concept of a God which has no qualities, properties, or attributes. So for somehow I got attached to my Saguna Ishwara. And I am a great bhakta and I'm a great upasaka. I get a lot. I have become so purified that now my actions just symbolize that purity in every step of my day to day. So the person is so beautiful, and he might not have any uh, money or sufficient health for that, or he may not have sufficient health for that. Okay, here Swami is just speculating on some possible reasons for someone not to enter the final stage of Shravana, Manana, and Jidyasana. So there will be something. Swami say it doesn't matter. We are not going to go there, but Swami is going there, speculating there must be some obstacle. A person was not able to enter into the Upanishad process of Nirguna, Brahman, Vichara, in which case the person continues in Saguna Ishwara as a great Niskama Upasana, Upasaka, with incredible vairagya for Ishwara and devotion. And he continues. So Krishna says, naturally, since he has great value for Ishwara, Prapit, Prapit. What is Prapti? I forgot.
Your microphone's off, Lynn.
Huh?
Lynn said something, but her microphone was off, so we didn't hear.
Oh, I think it means attainment.
Attainment.
He,
Okay.
yeah.
He has great value for Ishwara Prapti, and at the same time, at the time of death also. Yeah? His mind dwells upon what he values the most. what he considers as top priority in his life or her life. For an Niskama Upasaka, Ishwara Parpit is the top priority. It's merging or accomplishing or becoming one with Ishwara or something. Therefore, at the time of death, also, this person remembers the nature of God, the love of one's life, and as a result, the person after death leaves the physical body, carries the subtle body, and goes to Brahma Loka. We're gonna skip this part of Brahma Loka, otherwise Mark is going to get all excited with Brahma Loka. And in Brahma Loka, Mark has to enter into Nirguneshwara Vichara. But Mark is already doing Nirguneshwara Vichara. There is no escape from Vedanta. Sooner or later, you need to enter into the investigation of the nature of Nirguna, God, in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads. You have to definitely come to these teachings. There is no other way, there is no escape. Either you do now while it's still associated with a physical body, or later on without your physical body, somehow, somewhere, you may need to go and begin this process, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So Nirguneshwara Vichara, nobody will be able to escape, avoid, because that is the ultimate route to liberation. This is nice. There is only one route to liberation, which is the Yin Yoga or Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, uh, in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads. All other routes or roads or avenues will take one to this ultimate route. This route means root? No, no. What is the meaning of this root? This is not root. No?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think that's what it's meaning, the
yeah,
way, but they spelt it wrong. They've
They
spelt it as
spelled
in
it wrong. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Most okay. So what it means to say is, whenever we do it, whenever we're gonna have to come to terms with the final declarations of identity as presented in the Upanishads, because that's the only way we're going to be free from the problem of samsara, the endless cycles of birth, life, death, and rebirth. So either we do it here or we're going to do it some other loka, but if you don't do it here, chances are you're going to come back here unless you have become so pure, so pure, so pure that Ishvara does not send you back here, but but elevates you to Brahma Loka to get the final teachings from Brahmaji. One attains liberation, we have seen this, and one is technically uh, referred to as Krama Mukti. In this Krama Mukti, Krishna is dealing with throughout the 8th chapter. So this is all about Krama Mukti. Therefore, you should remember in this 8th chapter, Nirguna, Ishwara, Yanan is not the subject matter. Nirguna, Ishwara, Yana is kept aside for the moment. The topic here is Krama Mukti for some reason. It's a chapter which is mostly engaging some there are some logic in all of this, but there is some mystical elements to it as well. Naturally, the question will come: how can a person remember God at the time of death if the person has lived a life thinking about worldly worldly objects, you know, objects of attraction, objects of fear? So how the person is going to hold the thoughts upon the Lord at the time of death? You know? How can you remember? You have no control. So we have seen this previously. So I'm just doing a recap here. So we have no control of what our next thought will be. Our conscious thought, every moment, we have no control. It comes from our tendencies, our latent thoughts in the causal body, our habits, our predispositions, you know. So it's so important for us to be able to understand those patterns that they are repetitive by nature, to understand if they are good repetitive thoughts or they are repetitive thoughts that are obstacles to my spiritual growth. So that goes into negative thoughts and positive thoughts. The question is, the highest thought is Aham Brahmasmi, which needs to be understood uh, properly by understanding the nature of Saguna Ishwara and living in accordance, in harmony, in conformity with its laws and principles. Mm. And then my mind gets purified. And then, although I have no control over my next thoughts, my thoughts have been purified in the light of this association with God. And I think in harmony with God. I think in harmony with reality. Now itself, whether I have control over myself is doubtful. Uh, why some devotee, it seems, said, uh, for that question, Krishna himself gives an answer. It will be effortlessly if your devotion goes to your subconscious mind. The same concept. There is only one way for us to live this physical reality, thinking of the true nature of reality as the Nirguna Atma, in full gratitude, reverence, and love to the only reality. Huh? And that the only possible way, as we know, is that this knowledge has grown roots in the causal body so that they are available to us. Even if we pass unconscious, we go into coma before leaving the physical body. One has to work. How so? We mentioned that I taught this subject last week. If the whole work must be established or accomplished in the subtle body, in the unconscious mind, in the subtle body, no, in the causal body or the unconscious mind, and then I said, okay, I go direct to the causal body and I'm going to work on my vasana load there directly. And then the difficulty is that we can't. We can only work our vasana load. We can only reprogram, purify our subconscious mind at the conscious mind level, cultivating and developing thoughts, attitudes, tendencies, and vasanas, which are liberating vasanas because they are vasanas in harmony with the true nature of God, true nature of reality. So you have to do this work on the conscious level of your mind, and that's where upasana comes. By conscious meditating, a person pushes the Ishvara Smarana to the subconscious mind. So this knowledge, this goal of understanding the nature of God goes into the Vasana body, Vasana load in a causal body. At the time of the body, even if the mind of the person went unconscious, not operative, from the subconscious mind, whatever is there is saturated. That will surface. That's beautiful. And Lynn said, I think Lynn said last class that she loves this word, saturated with uh, these thoughts around the nature of reality. So therefore, Krishna says in the 8th verse, which we completed in the last class, that's why I told you repeatedly, and here Swami repeats once again, this is very important, very important. I know it's not easy. It's not easy work to be accomplished, but it's not impossible either. We need to be so clear in our minds, in our intentions, and in our willpower to overcome this cosmic ignorance by watching our thoughts, because our thoughts will become our words, Our words will condition our actions. Our actions will condition our vasana load. Our vasana load will determine our character, and our character will will project my destiny. Mm. Very, very important to watch this old saying, this old proverb. You know, I don't know who came up with, but it's so profoundly beautiful. Therefore, living an alert life is called abhyasa yoga, and with a mind which is strengthened by abhyasa yoga. So, remind me, what is abhyasa? I forgot.
This repetition.
Okay, abhyasa is the discipline, yoga of discipline. Yeah. Therefore, with an undistracted mind, when a person remembers the Lord, the person attains Krama Mukti. And then comes the verse number 9. One who thinks of the Lord at the time of death attains the Lord who is omniscient, is the ruler of all, subtler than atom, the sustainer of all, incomprehensible, effulgent like the sun, and beyond knowledge and ignorance. Each said beyond ignorance because it refers to, maybe it refers to Saguneshwara. I don't know. One who thinks of the Lord at the time of death attains the Lord who is omniscient. So it's total knowledge, you know, pure knowledge, which goes to pure Sattvaguna or Ishwara. The ruler goes to Ishwara as well, because Ishwara is the one projecting this order of reality, and it is sustaining by its rules. It is governing it by its laws, ruling it according to certain laws such as karma, causality. Jesus is the Ishvara as the sustainer of everything which is subtler than the atom, because it's pure knowledge, pure sattvaguna. And it's not only the ruler, but the ruler is also the maintainer, the sustainer of everything. It's incomprehensible to the human intellect, but not to the knowledge of God itself. It is the pure light of Sattvaguna, effulgent like the sun, and of course, being the light of all knowledge, it's beyond ignorance. So let's see how Swami unfolded this beautiful, rich, well packed verse. Krishna talks about the attributes of this Saguna Ishwara, who is remembered by Niskama Pasaka at the time of death. Ishwara Kalyana Vishesha. What are the attributes that are mentioned here in regards to Ishwara? Each word here is an attribute of the Lord. Yes, I got that. And well, Swami goes to the extent to say that there are 8 attributes mentioned here. Let's see where he got 8 attributes from here. From this is very clear that Niskama Upasak must be in touch with the scriptures. Of course, without the scriptures, nothing is possible, because only the scriptures are going to unfold the nature of Saguna Ishwara as the creator, the sustainer, the ruler, and the recycler, so to speak. Otherwise, he will not know any of this. What are these 8 attributes? Mm, the first thing he says is omniscient, the all illuminating principle of pure knowledge, because the Lord is seen as the total mind, the omniscient one. And this mind, this is an interesting concept. When we say large, the large is the total mind, okay, because it's all knowing. So, but when we look in terms of the total mind, we think in terms of the total mind of all jivas. Huh? But the knowledge of the jivas are more often than not bad knowledge. You understand? So Ishvara is the total knowledge, but it says in the next pointer, it says which is beyond ignorance. Okay, which does not include the ignorance. The ignorance is something relevant to the limitation of the jiva mind. Okay, it's very difficult for the jiva to understand what's going on. So let's see what Swam says here. It's a total mind, the omniscient mind, Puranam, Puranam, the most ancient one, Puranaha, the one who is never created, the one who is the creator of everyone, but the one who himself is uncreated, and therefore Puranam. Here, Puranam means the ancient one, not Bhagavatam, Puranam. Here, Puranam is used as an adjective. Our Puranams are also called Puranams because they are also ancient ones. So Puranam here means the ancient one, one who is beyond the creation. Beyond the creation means to say it's not within the cycle of causality. It was not created. It's the uncreated principle from where everything apparently emerged to be sustained and disappearing from moment to moment. Then the next aspect here, can anybody open one video there so that I have someone to look at? So the next one is Anusasitaram. Anusasitaram. Mark, can you open your video, please?
Yeah, it is open, Arlindo.
Oh, no, sorry. I meant to say something so that the black screen goes away and now I see you.
Okay.
Thank you. The next one is Anusashita, means the one who gives the karma pala to all the jivas according to the law of karma. Here's what it says: one who thinks the Lord attains the Lord who is omniscient, who is the ruler, okay? The ruler. What is the ruler? The one who is governing the experience of all Jiva-Atmas based on several laws and principles, being the law of karma or causality the most relevant. So it's the ruler. It takes into account all our thoughts, attitudes, words, and deeds to produce in a moment-to-moment base our punya papa, our balance. It gives us our karma palan to whom? To all jivas according to its laws. Which law? Mostly the law of karma. And when we talk about the law of karma, we are talking about not only physical, chemical laws, we take into account, most important, we take into account moral, ethical, and psychological laws, as we say again and again. So this principle, this intelligent principle, keep everything into account and produce to each one of us our karma palan from moment to moment. Therefore, it is the karma palan data, the one who deliver all of us our results, our karma palan, our parabadas. The one who is subtler. Now the third aspect is the subtler than the subatomic or subatom particle of the atom, which means one who is not available for any uh, perception, sense organs perceptions. There is no sensory perception available to something which is so subtle. The scientists using some instruments can go there and see all those very, very, very subtle energies or particles now with the help of certain instruments, but there is no scientific instrument that can get us to see this principle, this supreme intelligence, this God particle. They are never going to, the scientists are never going to be able to objectify the nature of God, the so-called God particle, because it's so subtle beyond any possible scientific instruments of perception. So this God is beyond Sabda and beyond the perception through the five sense. From this, it's very clear that a physical form that we attribute to the Lord is only a rough symbol. Yeah? It's just like a flag representing a nation and so on. Similarly, the form for God represents the formless reality, the formless beauty, the formless immortality, the formless peace, the formless security. In fact, everything that we seek in life that is symbolized as God. Wherever we see a symbol of God, we are seeing the nature of pure beauty, pure security, pure immortality, and so on. These are the symbols, these things that we seek peace, we seek security. All of these are goals. They feel to be abstract goals. So therefore, more often than not, we need to use more concrete symbols for these abstract goals, meaning to say God. And therefore, it is formless. So it went into presenting this extremely subtle, invisible principle, which, by the way, is formless as well. Another attribute is no form. So if it is more subtle, not available to any sense organ, and then of course it must be formless as well. In the second line, Krishna presents another aspect. It says that is the substratum or the addistanum or the support of the entire universe. Being the very cause of creation, this principle was never created, just as ocean is the very substratum of all the waves and all the bubbles. They all rise and fall into the ocean, resolving back into the ocean. Similarly, the Lord is Vishva, Adaram. And in Vedantic context, we use the word Sadirupam, Satan, the one who is the very existence principle. This is a very profound philosophical concept. So the substratum of everything, the addition, the base, the ground of being as existence. So it's the ground of existence. It's the very existence principle. No? So I'm saying who is by nature existence, and then the superimposition of the gunas of Maya makes it appear as the existence of numberless phenomenal objects. The support, the dissonance. So I'm here says that in Chandogya Upanishad, the Lord is present as the very existence principle which supports everything. But to understand this existence principle, one requires a very subtle intellect, and therefore we symbolize that sat in a particular form, but existence has no form at all. Therefore, Vasya Dattara. So now I got the interest to explore the Chandogya Upanishad. Have you read the Chandogya? Any one of you, Lynn and
I
Mark?
have not, but it's on my list. It gets referred to all the time.
Yeah. So how about, I mean, we have an option here to open once a week a class on Chandogya and keeping two on Gita. So think about that. So existence principle. This is a theme that I love. I love the most. What I love the most on Panchadas was the elaborations on the nature of Brahman as existence, and not only consciousness but existence. To understand the existence principle, the mind must be even more subtle. The intellect must be very, very, very subtle. It's a much more abstract concept than just consciousness. And as we know, existence has no form, color, or shape. Existence is one, and boring, lending existence to all the Namarupas in the universe. And this principle is incomprehensible to the human intellect, of course, the one who is beyond our thoughts, the one who cannot be objectified by the intellect. The reason being, one can give many reasons. Mind can visualize only things with qualities, properties, and attributes. The intellect is an instrument meant to study the world of the objects, meaning to say objects, they are defined by their attributes, as we know, qualifications, qualities, or characteristics and properties. Therefore, the mind cannot function in a field where the attributes are not present. They're just as the best car cannot move in the ocean, the best ship cannot move in the land, because ships are not meant for the land and cars are not meant for the ocean. Mind is not meant for a field which is beyond attributes. Therefore, it's inconceivable to the human intellect. But as we know, the intellect has the potential to contemplate and understand the nature of this inconceivable principle, but not objectively, not as something like this or like that, defined by this or that attributes or characteristics. The intellect has the possibility to not only conceive but understand the nature of this principle, free from attributes, not objectively but as the very subject principle, meaning to say the absolute conscious existence. And the second reason is God cannot be ultimately objectified because God happens to be the very subject. So I was anticipating this. It's the very subject who objectifies everything we manage to objectify through our minds is blessed by this conscious existence, the principle allowing the mind to objectify everything. Such is the nature of God, is unobjectifiable God, meaning to say cannot be known as an object, but can only be known as the subject. Is temporarily objectified by adding attributes. So he's saying like therefore, due to the difficulty to associate with such a principle which has no attributes, no? We just colored this principle with some attributes of the gunas of Maya temporarily, not that we remain stuck there forever, temporarily. So we accept some attributes as present in the Vedic scriptures temporarily so that we can grow, purify, refine, expand our minds so that we can contemplate on that which is unobjectifiable. Right? Anything else? Then for those of us who cannot conceive this attributeless principle truth, for those less mandaha means to say less purified intellects, less clear. The Upanishad calls them mandaha, but mandaha is not a very nice word. Uh, Comes down and presents the God colored by the attributes of Maya. And stepping over the attributes, we can go to the attributeless. Very nice. So we work with the attributes of Saguna Ishvara so that we can go into the attributeless Brahman. And Aditya Varnan, the one who is bright like the sun, another attribute, another feature of this principle, the one who is bright like the sun, the one who is the illuminator of everything like the sun. If you remember recently in one of Swamiji's class on Katha Upanishad, it was said, just as one sun illumines everything in our galaxy, God is that one consciousness because of which we are conscious of everything else. Therefore, it is Prakasha Chaitanya Svarupa, so the one who is all illumining consciousness. Just as our sun illumines our solar system, not the entire galaxy. So consciousness is the sun of the sun illumining all cosmos, all universe, and so on. And this light is not even affected by darkness. This is the difference between sunlight and the light of consciousness. What is the difference between Surya? The sunlight can illumine everything except one thing. It cannot illumine darkness. This is so nice. So, did you get that? No? The sunlight can illumine any and everything except darkness, because the light, the moment it gets in contact with darkness, darkness dissolves. Okay, so sunlight can never objectify darkness. Only consciousness can objectify light and darkness, knowledge and ignorance, because it's beyond all pair of opposites. Swami Shimananda nicely says somebody went and told the sun god, there is a beautiful girl, it's Miss Darkness, so you can get married to her and have many children. So it's a story. Therefore, the sun god thought somehow I should meet this Miss Darkness. Therefore, the sun god asked, it seems, where is Miss Darkness? Then they said it's on the other side of the earth. So the sun started running around the planet after this darkness. Still, the sun is going round and round many times, and that is why sunrise and sunset. Bachelor Sun wants to marry Mrs. Darkness. So beautiful. Because in Sanskrit the word darkness is feminine gender. Some people keep the name Nisha also. I know how this word came. Nisha means darkness. Anyway, I hope there is no one here called named Nisha, because Nisha here is being attributed to darkness as a meaning. So the darkness is a female and the light is the male. The light is searching for darkness and he's totally in love but never met Mrs. Darkness. So let's leave it aside. So what is the problem? The sun can illumine everything, but it can never illumine darkness. And that is a huge limitation to the sun. We say our sunlight illumines and reveals everything. But it says, and how about darkness? No, it cannot illumine and reveal darkness. The sun never met darkness. This is a limitation of the sun, but consciousness is a far superior, limitless light which can illumine even darkness. In fact, if this room becomes dark, not now, you will continue the class, no problem. I will speak in the darkness and you're going to hear in the darkness. How do you know which is dark? You are conscious of darkness, so you can objectify darkness. The sunlight cannot objectify darkness because you are of the nature of consciousness. Consciousness illumines the existence of knowledge and ignorance, meaning to say darkness and light. So this consciousness is not affected even by darkness. Therefore, it's called the illuminator of both. And as the verse says, is beyond ignorance, beyond darkness. Such a God is the God of Aniskama Upasaka, who is totally committed to his process of meditation. And he's going to do it through one's life to the point of becoming natural. Constant remembrance in one's background. It's a knowledge properly established in the causal body, the unconscious mind. And it's going to be throughout available during the life, but also the moment of death as well. This verse is grammatically incomplete because whoever remembers, it is incomplete. So you have to grammatically complete this verse by adding, he attains the Lord. So these we borrow from the previous verse. Yeah, the previous verse has said more than one verse, attains the Lord. And so he gets a mukti, not jiva mukti, but krama mukti. Let me go back to the verse. The one who thinks of the Lord at the time of death attains the Lord who is omniscient. But it has already said attains the Lord. I did not get that. Because here it says a lot that the Upasaka attains the Lord. Swami is saying here that as if the verse is incomplete because it does not say that it attains the Lord. So this verse is grammatically incomplete because whoever remembers it is incomplete. So you have to grammatically complete by adding he attains the Lord. So this we borrow from the previous verse and so on. Maybe he already added the verse putting the words there, attain the Lord. Right? Could be a
Well, if you go back from the verse to the script, breaking it down word by word, what you'll find is he says, attain at the time of death, attains the Lord is in brackets. In other words, he's added that bit, I think.
okay. He most probably he add that to make it complete. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and he must have added to leave no room for misunderstanding. Yeah, at the time of death, attains the Lord. I get it. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
This is a great verse for Manana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
very rich. Yeah, I when I was reading at the beginning, I got this impression that it was a very rich, but I did not expect Swamiji was going to find eight eight or so features of this divine principle. Okay, so we meet again this coming Friday. Okay, Ishwara willing. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay,
Thank you, Arlindo.
thank you. Good to meet with you again next Friday. Okay, namaste.
Okay. Thanks, Oliver. Great class.
Thank you.